Good evening. Let us begin where all true ministry begins, not with many words, not with brilliant thoughts, but with a consent. Words are auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. Do you see? If I hand you language when you are hungry for life, I may invite you to chew the menu instead of tasting the bread. Be still and know that I am God. That is not a text for discussion. It is a directive. Be still, know God. There are those in this room with pressing needs. You do not require phrases. You require presence. My conversation with you, when the need is urgent, is usually limited to, I will help you. And then we rest. No contest of minds. No spiritual debating society. I will help you, and we will be quiet that the help may come from where help is help. Take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that hour. Let it be given. Let the word speak itself. Tonight, allow a very simple rhythm to carry you. Sit, listen, behold. That is the whole teaching in seed form. Sit meaning, be willing to stop using thought as a tool of control. Sit down in yourself. Take the hands off the wheel of appearances. Listen not to your mind repeating lessons, but to that which the mind cannot author. Listen for the still small not voice that is more like a weightless peace. Behold, without comment, without verdict, without comparison, behold God. Not God afar, not God to become, not God to be convinced. God, I am that I am. Present isness. We are framing an experiment, not a sermon. We will not use truth. We will let truth use us. Do you follow that? The difference is everything. If we use truth, we are the actor, and truth is our instrument. That is the subtle hubris of the restless mind. If truth uses us, we are transparency, and God is the actor. I and the Father are one. One means not two. Not a man asking God to come, not a healer applying power to problem, but the one appearing as the many. God manifest as individual being. But even these words, true as they are not the point. The point is to grow still enough that they cease to be words and begin to be seeing. Sit, listen, behold, each breath bow to the presence that is already here. You are not trying to make anything happen. You are not using thought to push away a pain or pull in a blessing. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. The Spirit of the Lord is. That is liberty now, not after you succeed in thinking perfectly. Drop the hunger for result. Drop the dread of failure. Drop the hope and the fear together. Resist not evil. Resistance feeds the very shadow it would deny. We are not resisting. We are consenting to what already is God. If you have a need, hold it lightly like a leaf in an open palm. Do not argue for it. Do not argue against it. Let it be covered by the presence you cannot describe, but which describes you. I will help you. I will stand by in consciousness quietly, simply. No talk of promises, no quoting truths at you. In this way, truth proves itself. By your life experience, by the fruitage, the silence will testify. Now, together, without strain, sit, listen, behold. Let there be the holy willingness to be without words, without thoughts, only presence. Should a verse rise, let it rise and pass like a prayer bird in open sky. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear it as God's statement to the Son, that is your true identity, and then let even that sink into silence. Be. You see, in this beginning without beginnings, ministry has already started, and it needs no announcement, for the living God is the announcement. Now we come to a necessary honesty. The very speech that carried us to the door may, if we continue it, keep us from entering. The letter is a fine servant. It is a poor master. The letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. Do you see? The words you have learned are not your power, they are your primer. Priming the pump is not the water. A few gentle remembrances may steady the mind. God is, I and the Father are one. Omnipresence is. And then hush. If you keep pumping when the water is flowing, you stir air into the line, you introduce interference. This is why our talking, especially in the presence of pain, must be minimal to the point of holy restraint. I tell you candidly, when people are in grief or shock and someone starts voicing truth at them, there are no accidents in divine mind, or it's only a belief. I resent it very much. Not because the words are false in principle, but because they are applied as plaster where only presence heals. When ye pray, use not vain repetitions. Vain is not about quantity. It is about the Spirit. If the words are used to avoid feeling, to avoid listening, to protect the speaker from the burden of love, they are vain. The inner ear opens when the mouth closes. We quiet the mouth so the inner ear may open. In that inner hearing, God speaks for God. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. You cannot hear if you are rehearsing what to say next. You cannot drink if you are busy describing water. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength, not in explanation, not in assertion, in quietness. The Spirit never needs your defense. If truth is infinite, must we defend it with many words or consent to it with inner stillness? Answer that in your own heart. Then obey the answer. In crisis, your ministry is a sentence, often less. My conversation is usually limited to, I will help you. Then, if you are with them, touch a hand if it is welcome, or sit present. If you are on the telephone, keep it short. Hang up if you can, and stand by in consciousness. Do not begin to gather scriptures like stones in a sling. Do not start correcting appearances with declarations. Take your seat within. Close the lips. From the heart, say, not out loud, Father, here I am, and then wait. This waiting is not idleness. It is consent. It is the Sabbath of the healer. I remember a midnight call, an automobile crash, flashing lights, the sounds that turn the heart. I will help you. And I went to the chair. 10 minutes. No words. There was only the felt weight of presence, like a mantle settling. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Rose and fell of its own accord, and I let it pass into silence. The callback came an hour later. We don't understand a changed diagnosis, vital signs steady. By your life experience, by the fruitage. Do you follow that? It was not my sentences that altered the picture. It was the absence of my sentences that permitted the presence to appear as law, as order, as life. The letter has its right use. Early each day, priming the pump has value. Consciously know a few times, God is, I live, yet not I, Christ liveth my life. That is sufficient to bring the mind to heal. But the major activity of this way is receptivity. After the letter, the listening. After the reminder, the rest. Resist the itch to decorate the silence with insights. Drop it. Keep dropping until you detect not your breath, not your ideas, but presence. It announces itself. Take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour. If it is given, it is brief. If it is not given, do not manufacture it. Let us be firm with ourselves. Do not comfort your unease with chatter about God. Be comforted of God. Do not lean upon formulas when a face is pale and a room is tense. Be the transparency through which the Comforter does his work. The sign that you have moved from letter to spirit will not be a thrill or a clever phrase. It will be quiet fruitage, less fear in you, more ease in them, solutions that arrive without argument. Then you will know that the mouth has done its proper labor by being still, and the inner ear opened of God has heard. Now, if the mouth is quiet and the ear attentive, what then do we hear? We hear the first of our two words, as God appearing as individual being, God the invisible as the visible you, not a man becoming divine, not a human growing wings, the one revealing itself as this which you are. I and the Father are one, not two. If there are two, we must forever argue, plead, and persuade. If there is one, explanation fades because presence is self-explanatory. You see? When Philip asked to be shown the Father, the answer was not a lecture, it was identity. He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. Or as we render it, thou seest me, thou seest the Father. The point is not an exaltation of a person, it is a disclosure of principle. God is manifest as individual being. The Father is forever pressing through as sonship. That is the nature of appearance. God the invisible appears as Son the visible. Therefore, the spiritual work is not to fix the person, not to decorate the personality with truths, but to behold God right where person seems to be. Behold, not analyze. Behold, not improve. Behold. This requires a discipline of sight. Unsee human good as well as human evil. If you cling to human good, you will be just as blind as when you stare at human evil. Human good flatters, human evil frightens. Both are masks. Look back of the eye, behind the mask, and behold the Christ of God. When you look at me, refuse to be charmed or repelled by the outer. Refuse to need my curriculum vitae or my explanations. Agree within yourself, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased, not because of his conduct, not because of her record, but because there is only one appearing as many, and the Father knows the Son after the Spirit. Do you follow that? When you take this stance, your relationships alter without conversation. The need to explain yourself, to justify, to win, to be understood by words relaxes. You are understood at the root because the root is God. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. If all that the Father hath is thine, what is there to defend? If the I that I am is the Father revealing as this I, what is there to sell? You will find a holy uselessness growing around your tongue. The impulse to correct or convince will seem coarse. There will be a quiet blessedness in simply beholding. This is not passivity. It is the highest activity, God, recognizing God as this very scene. Try this today. Someone approaches you with a strong story, praise or blame, a triumph or a tangle. Before you answer, lay aside the scales. Let the inner eye say, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Let it be God's announcement to God's own. Do not adorn it. Do not add a sentence. Just hold that look and listen. If the Father has something to say, it will be given you in that same hour, and it will be brief. If nothing is given, your beholding will be ministry enough. The atmosphere will testify. The clamor will soften. The guidance will come not because you argued well, but because identity was honored. Understand, this is not a technique for getting your way. It is a revelation of the way. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth my life. If Christ liveth my life, then Christ liveth your life. What I am seeing in you is the same. Life appearing as different light. Therefore, I do not need to straighten you out to be at peace. I need only to see you as you are in God. In that seeing, something in you recognizes itself. Sheep know the shepherd's voice, and since speech is not the shepherd here, the voice is felt as presence. This is why words subside when identity dawns. There is nothing to add to what is. The Father never explains himself, he reveals himself. You may say, how then shall I handle wrong, insult, mistake? Handle none of it at the level of person. Unsee the human scene, good and evil, and behold, the correction, if any, will be in the form of harmony revealed, not battle won. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty from defense, liberty from blame, liberty from the compulsion to narrate a better self. As identity clarifies, life becomes a transparency for the one. Then even your silence speaks the gospel. God is manifest as individual being. God the invisible appears as the visible you. Carry this as you move among your people. In the market, at the table, in the sick room, let your eyes deliver the benediction. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Not your benediction, God's. Keep your lips from multiplying words. Let the inner announcement stand. Watch what happens in the field of relationship when explanation is replaced by recognition. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know that the word as has entered not only your mind but your sight. Then the need to explain yourself or anyone will have faded into the larger fact. I and the Father are one. If God is appearing as you, then the nature of life is already established. The next word is, not will be, not might be, present isness. Harmony is, life is, love is, abundance is. Omnipresence is I am. Do you see? We are not calling anything forth. We are not urging law to begin. We are consenting to what already is and letting the fact of God disclose itself as the form of your affair, your body, your tomorrow, as this instant's peace. Before Abraham was, I am. That is the keynote of healing. You are never trying to change a condition. If you try to change it, you admit it. If you admit it, you fight it. And if you fight it, you feed it with a second power. Drop it. The work is not manufacture, the work is recognition, not rhetoric, realization. As surely as you do not make 2 times 2 become 4, you realize it is 4, so you do not make health, safety, supply, or peace. They are. You awaken to what is and discover that the appearance never had authority. It is finished. Truth is complete before your thought starts its sentence. When the senses press you with noise, pain, lack, accusation, do not begin mustering declarations to batter the noise into quiet. Take no thought, be still, and know. Enter the inner room and shut the door. Sit, listen, behold. Let the simple cadence come only to still the mind. Harmony is, life is, love is, abundance is, omnipresence is, I am. Then let even that sink beneath the surface. The rest is God's. The kingdom of God is within you. Within means here, not over there, now, not later. God's being, not your brain. I had a call once, rent due, accounts empty, panic rising like a tide. There was a temptation to talk truth at the figures, to itemize promises, to hustle the mind into bold sentences. I would not. I sat and breathed no syllable but this: is, God is, presence is, all that the Father hath is mine, therefore supply is. In 10 minutes, the agitation lost its oxygen. The sense of a separate me trying to engineer outcome dissolved. When the phone rang an hour later, unexpected payment released, delay resolved, there was no triumph, only recognition. By your life experience, by the fruitage. Do you follow that? The event answered the already, the form met the fact. Not because I persuaded the mind, but because I ceased trying to author the day and consented to being authored. Do not make a god of the calendar. Is never tomorrow. This day is this scripture fulfilled in your ears. Manna is gathered as now. You cannot store it by promising yourself a better hour. When fear says, but what about next week? Answer it with no argument, only presence. I am. When memory drags you backward into yesterday's failure or yesterday's glory, answer with the same, I am. The line of time is a trick of the streetcar tracks. They only seem to meet in the distance. Is the level ground on which you now stand. In the sick room, the posture is the same. Do not stare at the thermometer as if it possessed law. Give not a thought to fever or to flesh. Rest in what is, life is. The life that I am is God's life appearing as individual being. I am the resurrection and the life. That is not a phrase for drama. It is the permanent fact stating itself. Wait, let the is declare itself as order, balance, right action. If a word is given, it will be brief. If none is given, your silence is the ministry. It leaves no residue of personal effort, and it does not tire you. You will notice the difference in yourself. When you try to make harmony, your brow tightens, your breath shortens, your sentences multiply. When you realize harmony, the shoulders drop. The mind, instead of pushing, receives. The atmosphere changes first, then the picture follows. Consider the lilies. They toil not, neither do they spin. They are not lazy, they are aligned. They witness is. So keep this as the quiet law of your practice. You are not here to make 2 and 2 become 4. You are here to witness that it is 4. You are not here to persuade reality to improve. You are here to let reality reveal. Harmony is. Life is. Love is. Abundance is. Omnipresence is. I am. Say it to gather the mind, then stop saying it and let it be. The Spirit does the speaking from there. This is the Sabbath of healing, the end of our words and the beginning of God's self-evidence. Do you see? Now, to keep this seeing honest, we must name error rightly. If you misname it, you empower it. If you see it as a person, place, thing, or law, you will feel obliged to fight it. And the moment you fight, you have granted it a second power. Resist not evil. Do you see? Error has no person, no law, no substance. It is mesmerism, a universal suggestion that there are 2 powers, that God is somewhere and something else is somewhere else with its own authority. That is the lie. We wrestle not against flesh and blood because there is no adversary in person. There is only a shadow cast by belief. Use simple images to keep your heart free. There is a coil of rope in the dusk, and you leap back from the snake. Then the light turns and laughter rises. There is no snake. The fear was real to you, but its cause was never there. Or think of the non-existent white poodle scurrying across the lawn until you discover it as a patch of wind among daisies. The poodle vanishes into what it always was, nothing. Scripture names this nothingness, the arm of flesh. It looks like reach and muscle. It is mist. When you behold it as mist, you stop bringing a sword to cut fog. You let the sun do its work. Therefore, the first discipline in any call for help is this: give not a thought to the person or to the condition. Drop it. Do not begin with the patient, the diagnosis, the bank balance, the court date. If you do, you enter the hypnosis. Close the lips and behold the presence back of the eye. Agree within yourself, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Not this man, not this woman, this appearing of God, this sonship that is the only identity here. When you take that stance, fear loses its oxygen. You have stepped out of the story and into the light in which snakes become rope and white poodles become air. I had a case, 3 names had been given, 3 diseases, and behind them a rumor of inherited weakness. The temptation was to go to war, to muster a battery of truths and hurl them one by one. I would not. I will help you. And then I sat, refusing thought of person or condition. In the first minute, I discovered my own fear looking for a handle. Drop it. In the second, I discovered my mind reaching for formulas. Drop it. By the third, only presence remained, weightless and certain, announcing of itself, "Be not afraid, it is I." I heard within, "This is nothing but the arm of flesh. This is suggestion, no law, no cause, no person." And silence. Within the hour, a report softened the picture. Within days, the labels began to dissolve, not because I out-argued them, but because there was no one left to argue with. By your life experience, by the fruitage, do you follow that? Understand this plainly. The hypnotism is universal. It is not the patient's, and it is not yours. It is no one's. If you make it his belief or her mistake, you have made a person of the impersonal and nailed it to a cross of blame. Do not do it. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, is not sentiment, it is metaphysics. They are not doing. Mesmerism is seeming. The forgiveness is the recognition of nothingness. In that recognition, receptivity opens without debate. The ears that were filled with clamor can hear. Perfect love casteth out fear. And love here is not an emotion. It is the unveiled fact of one presence. Your practice, then, is severe and simple. On contact, by phone, by letter, in a doorway, refuse person and refuse condition. Not coldly, lovingly. Take your seat within. Let 1 or 2 inner remembrances steady the mind. God is. I and the Father are one. Then stop. Let the living word, if any, be given you. If none is given, do not adorn the silence. In that quiet, the hypnotism breaks itself on the rock of is. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. See, not do. Watch how swiftly fear thins when there is no one opposing it. Watch how the atmosphere changes. Watch how guidance arises of itself. If fear lingers, you have not yet impersonalized enough. Go back, drop it again, behold again. This is how we keep the work clean. As reveals identity, is reveals presence, and the right naming of error removes the counterfeit that would hide both. Then there is nothing to mend, nothing to win, only God appearing as individual being unopposed. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Not argued truth, not shouted truth, known, beheld, and allowed to be the only law here. Do you see? Now let us put aside description and enter the practice itself. Sit, spine easy, hands open or resting softly. Let the jaw loosen. Let the eyes close or half close. No words, no thoughts, only presence. Be still and know that I am God. We will not help God, we will consent to God. Before we drop the last strand, let a single inward sentence form and dissolve. I will help you. Only once spoken within, not to a person, but as a consent of your heart. Then release even that. Take no thought. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. We will be silent together now. No affirming, no denying, no reaching, only consenting to what is. For the next 2 minutes, stop reading, rest, sit, listen, behold. If a word rises, let it drift by without adopting it. If a picture comes, let it untie itself. If the body asks for a breath, let it breathe you. Stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord. Not do see, not argue, behold. We will be still together now. Now, gently return. Do you follow that quiet? Notice your breath as if it had been breathing you. Notice the shoulders. Have they descended a little without your command? Notice the atmosphere without sentences, without explanations. Something steadied, something clarified. Yes? In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. We did not build a prayer. We did not conduct a case. We consented, and the presence announced itself as ease. Sometimes the phone will ring in that atmosphere and the answer will be on the line. Sometimes the pain will have misplaced itself. Sometimes nothing outward has shifted yet, but the tyranny of the picture has lost its center. And you know why. Truth has proved itself without your help. By your life experience, by the fruitage. Do you see? This is the Sabbath of the healer. No tools were lifted. No truths were hurled at shadows. We stood aside that the one might be one. Hear the benediction that moves without syllables. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Not a person consoled, but sonship revealed. You did not say it, you let it be. That is the essence of ministry in this way. When you are tempted to resume explanation, drop it. When you are tempted to fix, drop it. When a well-meaning mind offers a verse to calm itself, let even Scripture bow to the living word that speaks only when given. Keep the container simple as you practice. Sit, spine easy, hands open, no words, no thoughts, only presence. If fear starts to rehearse its lines, answer it with silence. If hope starts bargaining for outcomes, answer it with silence. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. Let him lead. Let the waters be still, because you have ceased to stir them. 2 minutes like this, many times a day, will re-educate the faculties. The mouth will grow more reverent, the ear will grow more trustful, and you will discover, not as a theory, but as a daily realization, that God the invisible appears as the visible harmony of your affairs without a single extra word from you. Do you follow that? Not the thought of quiet, the quiet itself. Hold a moment more and feel the weightless sense of being held. That is presence, not mood. That is the Christ stating itself as your very being. Keep close to this, and when the next call for help comes, you will know what to do. Almost nothing. Sit, listen, behold. Resist not evil. Consent to is. And watch how swiftly truth proves itself when there is room to be what it already is. What then has begun to change in you? Not only that the thoughts have hushed, there is also the faint, undeniable radiance of am beginning to announce itself. Do you see the difference? Mental quiet is the absence of chatter, like turning off the gramophone. Realize presence is the lamp lit in a once dark room. In the first, you feel relief from noise. In the second, you feel authority without effort, weightless certainty, a warmth that breathes you. Be still and know that I am God. Not know about God, know I am. When this I am is sensed, even briefly, the atmosphere, not just your mind, changes. The room seems to widen. The body forgets itself. The need to manage outcome loses its oxygen. This is the trace of the inner shift. In the early stage, you must often say, truth to gather the mind, priming the pump. God is. I and the Father are one. Omnipresence is. That is proper and good. But as the water flows, the pumping must cease. If you continue, you stir air into the line. So the progression is natural, from saying to hearing, from self-declaration to spirit declaring itself within. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth my life. When that happens, the tone of prayer alters. There is less you and more I, that is God. The inner hearing becomes the instrument. My sheep hear my voice. The voice is not a sentence constructed by you. It is the still small voice that does not argue, does not persuade, does not plead. It simply is. And if anything is said, it is given you in that same hour, and it is brief. Now, what of resistance? Restlessness will rise. The itch to think will tap at the door. A memory will complain. A forecast will threaten. Name it rightly, mesmerism. The arm of flesh, a snake in the rope, non-existent white poodle. Give it no person and no cause. Do not say, my distraction. Do not say, her condition. Drop it. Return to beholding. If a single inward sentence steadies you, let it come once. Father, here I am, or that holy announcement. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased, directed not to a person, but to presence itself. Then release even that, and listen. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Confidence in what? Not in your capacity to hold silence, but in silence to hold you. Let me give you a small scene. I entered a crowded office, papers rustling, tempers thin, a clerk brusque with every soul in line. The first moment, I merely quieted my mind, no argument, but it was still me holding the reins. Then I stopped holding, I let the inner ear turn, and the am became felt not as mood, as presence. The compulsion to be served softened into the simplicity of beholding, God appearing as individual being here, as this very scene. I moved one step, and the clerk's face without a word from me unclenched. Next he said, but kindly, the transaction that had tangled for days, unwound in minutes, by your life experience, by the fruitage. Do you follow that? The difference was not more thought, it was the cessation of thought motion in favor of presence motion. Use a clear checkpoint to train yourself on contact with any demand, doorbell, phone, pain, bill pause for a few seconds of listening until the settled is replaces the urge to think. You will feel it. It is the click of the latch as the door rests in the jamb. The breath changes by itself. The forehead releases. The sentence you were about to craft is unnecessary, or, if a word is given, it arrives whole and brief. Move only from that is, if it takes 10 seconds today and 2 minutes tomorrow, it is the same work. Do not grade yourself. Drop the grader. That too is mesmerism. Over time, you will mark the shift by its fruit. The day uses you instead of you using the day. Solutions appear unargued, words grow fewer, tenderness truer, fatigue lessens, because you are no longer performing prayer. Prayer is living you. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Thought motion spends, presence motion gives. Keep to the simple sequence. Prime if needed, then listen, behold, not fix, wait for the innerest to settle, then and only then proceed. This is the way the Christ declares itself as your very consciousness, and this is the secret pace of a life that heals without noise, do you see? Now let us bring this to the street where the phone rings, where a face appears at your door, where a text arrives at midnight. On any call for help, your first ministry is simplicity. Speak little. I will help you. Not a sentence about truth, not an analysis of cause. I will help you. Then turn within at once, not to shape results, but to consent to as and is, God appearing as this one, God already being the life, the law, the supply, the peace here. Do you see? The less you say outwardly, the more room there is for presence to announce itself. Practical compassion is never at odds with spiritual seeing. If there is a spill, wipe it. If the child is cold, bring a blanket. If a ride is needed, put on your coat. but let the hands move while the heart beholds. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Not a person rescued by a better person, but God, recognizing God at the place of seeming need. I was sick, and ye visited me. Visiting is not lecturing. Visiting is presence. While you hand the cup of water, give not a thought to the person or to the condition. Drop the picture. Drop the label. Stand by in consciousness. The Christ that is your very being stands witness to the Christ that is their very being, that is ministry. Here is how it looks. The phone rings. I've just come from the doctor. The word is frightening. Do not enter the story. I will help you. Then silence within. Behold, only God the invisible appearing as Son the visible. Resist not evil. Let the inner ear find the still sentence, if one is given. Life is, or that benediction. This is my beloved Son. If no word is given, keep still. Presence is already speaking for itself. If they ask, what should I do? Answer humanly what is needful: rest. A call returned. A ride arranged without dragging them through metaphysics. Your consciousness is doing the heavy lifting. Your lips need not. Let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, and let the Spirit carry the rest. Another scene. You enter a tense room. A parent slumped. A child feverish. Arguments crouched in the corners. Do not begin. There are no accidents in divine mind. That is offense to the frightened and an interference to the work. Sit. If you must say anything, say softly, I will help you. Bring the washcloth. Quiet the lights. While the hand cools the brow, the heart beholds. God is the life here. God appearing as individual being, this very one. In 3 minutes, the atmosphere loosens its knot. The fever's tyranny thins. A decision about the night becomes plain. When they thank you, do not explain how you did it. You did not. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. By your life experience, by the fruitage. Do you follow that? Or an envelope arrives, legal trouble. A date set that tries to frighten. The person says, tell me it will be all right. Do not promise outcomes, promise presence. I will help you. Then turn within. See no adversary, no judge, no law apart from God. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. Name the whole threat rightly. Mesmerism, the arm of flesh, a snake in a rope. Then release even the naming and stand. If action is required, take the plain human step, higher counsel, meet the date while refusing thought of personal condition. In such a consciousness, right doors open and wrong doors close without struggle. The arrangement that seemed impossible yesterday unfolds with dignity today. You did not persuade, you witnessed. Afterward, refrain from explaining. If you narrate to prove your prayer, you have taken back to yourself what never belonged to you, and you will tire. Let the fruitage speak. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. If asked, give thanks with them. If pressed, say, God is good, and leave it. Keep your lips unencumbered, so your inner ear remains free. This is not secrecy. It is protection of holy ground. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. Protect the hush in which as and is continue their work beyond your sight. This becomes your minimal ministry. Brief compassion outwardly. Steadfast beholding inwardly. On contact, I will help you. Within, only presence. Do what is humanly decent. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. Stand by in consciousness. Depart without a sermon. If harmony follows, you will have your sign. If not, do not manufacture reports. Go back to the inner room. Deepen the impersonalization and wait. The test is never your feelings or theirs. It is the quiet reappearance of order by your life experience, by the fruitage. Do you see? We help most when we stop talking truth at suffering and let truth use us wordless, tireless, effective. Now let us be honest with ourselves, because honesty is love protecting the way. The question is not, how beautifully did I speak, nor how uplifted did I feel after the silence. The question is, by your life experience, by the fruitage, by their fruits ye shall know them. Are the problems that come to your door quickly and easily being solved? Does the atmosphere clear without strain? Does peace reappear with regularity? Not as fireworks, but as the quiet reappearance of order. Do you see? Harmony is the certificate. If it is there, be grateful. If it is not there, do not justify yourself. Return at once to the simple altar where God is God and you are the witness. If the fruitage is scant, likely you have slipped into an emotional jag or fallen back upon the overuse of words. You felt high, you did not realize God, you performed prayer, prayer did not live you. Notice the signs. Were you tired afterward? Then you worked. Did you talk much inwardly or outwardly? Then you interfered. Did you keep glancing at the condition as if to check your score? Then you believed in two powers. Did you explain your method to reassure them or yourself? Then personality tried to be the savior. Drop it. Take no thought. Return to receptivity. Sit, listen, behold. The Spirit does the declaring, or there is no declaration worth the breath. I counsel you humbly and quietly to keep a simple record, not to parade, not to prove anything to anyone, but to train the heart in accuracy. A small page will do. Date, the contact, one or two words, silent, word given, ease, guidance, outcome. No gossip, no names strewn about, no drama. Close the book and lay it aside. After weeks, glance back. You will begin to see a pattern, not of your prowess, but of presence faithful to itself whenever you yield it. On the days when fatigue or confusion followed, you will find the telltale mark of your intrusion: too much letter, too much managing, too much person. This is not self-accusation, it is course correction. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Confidence in what? In the invariability of is, when you stand aside. When fruitage appears, an ease where there had been tightness, a supply where there had been lack, a reconciliation where there had been anger, seal it only with gratitude. A simple inward thank you, and then go on. Do not embroider it with commentary. Do not store the manna in tales to be told at dinner. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. The gratitude is not to a far God. It is the recognition of God appearing as this very harmony. Bow and pass on. We are unprofitable servants. We have done that which was our duty to do. The humility is not modesty as posture. It is protection. It keeps the channel clear so that tomorrow's work is as fresh as today's. If a report seems delayed, do not torment yourself and do not badger the one you helped for updates. That is not faith. That is fear seeking evidence. Stand where you stood at the first. Refuse person and refuse condition. Behold only presence. Many times the outer picture takes a human step or two to align. Let it. He maketh me to lie down. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Leading implies a pace. Keep to the inner pace, not the calendars. Watch for the quieter proofs, your own restfulness, a softened room, an impulse to do the next simple thing without argument. These are fruit too. They are the first leaves on the fig tree. Do you follow that? Make this your continual measurement. Are things coming right without strain? Are you speaking less and hearing more? Are you less fatigued after a case than before it? Are those around you being gently lifted without knowing why? If so, remain faithful and inconspicuous. If not, cut the words in half, then in half again. Add 2 minutes of silence to the beginning and the end. Impersonalize more thoroughly. Consent more purely to as and is. Let truth use you. Authentic realization requires no trumpet. It quietly proves itself in harmony. This is the Lord's doing. It is marvelous in our eyes. Say thank you and be about the Father's business. Let us make the life itself a sanctuary of availability, not an hour on a calendar, but a cadence so steady that the day cannot dislodge it. Upon waking, before any plan speaks, sit 3 minutes. No words, no thoughts, only presence. If the mind is dry or restless, prime the pump with 1 or 2 recognitions as God appearing as individual being, as the very I that now awakens is, life is, love is, I and the Father are one. Then drop the words and listen until the quiet announces itself. This is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Not future tense this is. Do you see? Before each meal, 3 minutes. Not a performance of grace, not sentences to impress the human ear. Give us this day our daily bread is not a request to a distant deity. It is the recognition that supply is presence appearing as food, as conversation, as the very body receiving its good. Sit. Consent. Feel the shift from thought motion to presence motion, then lift the fork. If the table is public and time seems tight, the 3 minutes can be within you while the hands unfold the napkin. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. Let the silence feed you before the plate does. Use doorway moments as altars. Before you enter the car, the meeting, the shop, the home, 3 minutes. Stand still and know that I am God at this threshold. Begin, if you must, with a single as is. God appearing as the clerk, the client, the child. Harmony is. Then drop it. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. The path of the errand, the path of the word you will speak or will not speak, lines itself quietly. You will feel the inner latch click, then step through. Do you follow that? When the day completes, sit 3 minutes before sleep. Not to review, not to grade, not to fix. Consent. If a sentence is given, let it be only gratitude, thank you, and let it dissolve into the dark that is not dark to him. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. In that consent, the night becomes a continuation of ministry. The ear never closes. It simply rests more deeply in the one that never slumbers. Threaded through these sittings is your walking discipline. Meet each face by beholding the Christ of God. Unsee personal good and personal evil. They are the play of the arm of flesh, the rope mistaken for snake. Agree within, on contact. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Not this temperament, not that history, God the invisible appearing as Son the visible. If a word is required outwardly, let it be the minimum of love, I will help you, and let the rest be listening. Pray without ceasing is not endless talk, it is ceaseless receptivity. Keep the method pure. Begin, if needed, with as and is to steady the mind. Then drop even the holy words. Listen until presence announces itself. How will you know? By the fruitage within seconds, the breath becomes quiet of itself, the forehead smooths, the inner yes appears where the mind had been bargaining. Move only from that. If it does not come, wait another minute. If it still tarries, do the simple human next thing without drama and return to the inner room at the next doorway. This is not a lazy man's work. It is simple. It is not slack. Watch and pray, said the Master. Watch for intrusion. Pray by receptivity. Measure nothing by emotion. Measure by harmony. Are the knots loosening without struggle? Are the words fewer, the deeds gentler, the days less tiring even when they are full? If so, keep to the cadence. If not, cut the words in half and add the minutes you withheld. Stand by in consciousness more than you stand on a platform. Let truth live your life, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. This is the rhythm that makes you usable. Waking consent, table consent, threshold consent, night consent, 4 bells in a day that teach the ear to hear between the bells. No words, no thoughts, only presence, as is God appearing as you, God being all. Then the work is done through you without your fatigue, and those who touch your day will find themselves healed without quite knowing why. This is the Lord's doing. It is marvelous in our eyes. Thank you.